Peace and divine blessings. I am Moon Goddess Ambrosia, the Fifth Force Oracle, and it is always an honor to share the collective cosmic oracle reading of evolution here with our beautiful family through M.I.M.E.C, Melanated Immortals Making Evolutionary Changes, alongside High Priestess Mayat and Brother Aqil Sharif on Aligning with the Cycles, as well as those that may be tapping in from my YouTube, Moon Goddess and the Healing Her Arts. And so again, I just want to give much love and gratitude to High Priestess, Mayat, Nebtaharka, Baba Wanique, and the priesthood for setting the stage for all of these gems. And as always, my continuous appreciation for all of us who are here to personally grow, evolve, and create together to serve in this divine mission. Okay, so Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe-yo. I am definitely ready to jump right on into this oracle reading. All right, so let's prepare ourselves by attuning to the mindset of a synchronaut. There are 3 important steps to awakening this mindset. It starts by us embodying our divine synergy. So by recognizing that we are living expressions of this divine synergy in motion, that helps us to get into our creative frequency. And so the second step is remembering our divine purpose. So as we align and get to that state of being, co-creators, our memories, our remembrance starts to flow in, so we can remember why we are here and what we're here to create by us embodying that creative power. And last but not least, as we consciously focus on the fact that we are co-creators, we are gearing this energy towards fulfilling our soul's mission. And so that is where we weave in our personal evolution with the greater transformation for the collective, for all of us to evolve here on this plane. And so being that each of us are living expressions of divine synergy, I encourage you to, or invite you to join me in affirming your personal galactic signature as I say mine. And so we're going to begin by saying that as a living expression of, and then you're going to say your kin number and then start saying your affirmation. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and lead us into it. As a living expression of Kin 181, the rare crystal dragon, I dedicate in order to nurture, universalizing being. I seal the input of birth with the crystal tone of cooperation. I am guided by the power of space. Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe-yo. And so much love and gratitude for all of you for joining me in making this statement, because this will allow us to unify our creative frequencies so that we can bring forth that harmony amongst all of us. And so I really appreciate all of you who joined me in making that statement. Ashe. All right, so now we are going to talk about where the Destiny Kin oracles are coming from. So it's coming from the Law of Times Oracle Board, which provides us with a 5th dimensional template for all of the 20 archetypes within the cosmology. It serves as like a compass to sustain our energetic flow, our personal signature of our 5th Force Destiny Oracle, as well as aligning with the natural cycles of time with the evolutionary journey of that we're all enduring. And so we have the Destiny Oracle here to, like I said, bring together all of our aspects, our emotional body, our mental, our spirit, our soul. And, I'll share some more about that. But if there are 5 components to this, which I'll get into on the next slide. And so when we bring all of these energy bodies together, that's what locks us in and really crystallize ourselves as multidimensional beings, for which we get to really hone in the full essence in all of who we are. And so let's talk about that a little bit further here, by looking at the template for the kin of the plasma, or I like to say the kinergy of the plasma, which is kin 242, the white galactic wind. And so here, when we look to the left, we see the oracle board with the basic templates for all of the archetypes. And then on the right, we see the kin that is the focus for today, or on this plasma. So when we're looking at the oracle board, we can see that all of the white winds, in the on the right side, that is the position of the physical body. And so the white winds have the red earth sitting in the physical body kin, or the physical body position. Down below, that is the position of the emotional body. Uh, this is so for this one, for the white wind, we have the blue storm that sits here as the archetype. And then on the left, this is the mental body, or the mental body kin. And we have the yellow human archetypes that sits there. Now, the position that is above the soul body in the center, that will be known as the spirit body. And that's like the guide, that's the guiding force, or the spirit guide, guiding us in the soul's focus. And so when you're looking at the oracle board, you'll see that those boxes are blank for all of the archetypes. And that is because that the archetype that will sit in that position will depend on the galactic tone, or I'll say one of the galactic tones of that particular archetype for that plasma. However, it will always be the same color kin and the same tone as the soul body in the center. And so that is the basics of how this shows up for us as multidimensional beings, because we embody all of those aspects that helps us to, really have this experience here on this plane. And so when we anchor, or really get in alignment with the intentions that we have, that helps us to bring out the unseen expression of our energy into form. And so as we focus on the kin of this plasma, kin 242, this is again the white galactic wind, and it is a part of the Blue Eagle wave spell. This is the wave spell of the power of vision that creates the mindset for us to know the accomplishments that comes from us healing ourselves into that whole state of being. And so, particularly with the with Kin 242, uh let's just like look at the breakdown of the galactic signature so that we can understand the energy that Kin 242 is bringing forth. And so real quick, before I even go into all of that, I definitely want to give a shout out to High Priestess my aunt, and tell her happy galactic return, as this is her kin number. So may that you enjoy me doing this breakdown of the oracle for today on this plasma. And so happy galactic return to you, High Priestess. And, let's all wish her a happy galactic return if we haven't done so already. And it don't hurt to do it again. Okay, so much love and gratitude. I had to make sure I throw that in there because, I really appreciate all that you do. And you really help me to see even more how Kin 242 shows up in the physical. So gratitude, High Priestess. And so, with that, I will go ahead and bring us to the focus of the breakdown for the white galactic wind. So, all of the Whitekins are focused on refinement. So when we are on a Whitekin, or if you're engaging with a Whitekin, just know that it's really focused on refinements that's going to help us to move to the next stage. So when we are meditating or sitting in that meditation mode and allowing ourselves to just, stay open-minded, be in the space of our spirit, not so much of the ego, so that we can see clearly the truth that's being shown to us as to how we can make refinements to different things. That is what the white tone really brings in for us, or the white kins bring in for us to see. And so if we looked to the archetype, where this is, collectively the white wind, the archetype is known as the High Priestess. So this is the power of spirit that communicates or is communicated through breath. So the white wind is all about the power of communicating our spirit and communicating with spirit just through breathing in itself, and then also being intentional, being intentional when we're speaking. And so the galactic tone that we're focusing on today, which will bring in the vibration of this creative energy, is that of the galactic tone, where, when we're refining the way that we communicate with our breath and vibrate in the frequency of holding the integrity of it, we also get to model the true essence of the spirit that we're leading with as we speak, do, breathe, and just do everything in life that we need to do with this breath of life. And so I have a remix to the affirmation, which is stated here. And I'm going to read it saying we. I encourage you, or I invite you to read this affirmation using I whenever you have a chance. However, for time's sake, I will lead with saying we. So, we harmonize our vision in order to communicate our accomplishment. By modeling our breath, we seal our informed input of vision with the galactic tone of integrity. We are guided by the power of death. And so, as we take this moment to really sit with this affirmation, please make note of any insights that come through for you, and you will see why in just a moment. And so, as I was reflecting on the affirmation, here are some things that had showed up for me that I felt called to share for this reading. And so, one of the things that stood out was the first line: I harmonize my vision in order to communicate my accomplishments by modeling breath. And so, what came to mind is that as we consciously breathe, and connect with our spirit, that breathing becomes the tool to access the insights, the clarity, and the inspiration so that we can bring our vision together, to harmonize it all together. And as we align with our spirit, or as we align our spirit with our soul's focus, like that main thing we're focused on creating in our soul, and intentionally express it through every action that we take. The actions also include the way that we think, the way that we speak. Everything that we do is an action that's given, that we're contributing to the vision. And so when we are being intentional about it, our visions then become a living expression of, our vision becomes living expressions that gets accomplished through us. So it's really powerful that we lock into breathing so we can receive those insights. And so also as we do so, another line that stood out for me in the affirmation was the last line, where it says, I am guided by the power of death. So basically, as we're sitting in this meditation, connecting with our spirit through breathing, we're being guided to remember that the sacred practice of surrendering, or AKA letting go, is what allows us to make space for new opportunities to come in. Those new opportunities come in with the insights that we receive that's going to help us to support our vision while we stay connected to our spirit's wisdom. So that's the sacred art or the sacred practice of surrender. It's not just letting go of everything. You still want to stay connected to your spirit while you do so. And so, as we are receiving these insights and making space, the way that we do it is by releasing and letting go of those energetic blockages or egoic mindsets, ego attachments to like identities, beliefs, perceptions, old habits, and just all of those things that no longer serve us, in holding the focus as to what we see ourselves creating. And so when we let go of those things, we open up the channel, or we open up like this gateway for the vision that we are seeking to actually be what we're experiencing, or that we're beginning to create and get into the experience of. And so those are some of the insights that came up for me as I reflected and prepared for this oracle reading. And so with that, I've also created a one-line statement for us to hold the focus, which says, I am modeling the sacredness of my breath to endure accomplishing my vision. I am modeling the sacredness of my breath to endure accomplishing my vision. So you, I, you, we, us, we are modeling the sacredness of our breath to endure accomplishing our visions. Ashe, ashe, and ashe yo. And so some questions that had came to mind to lock in or to sit with as we go through the oracle reading. The first one is to recognize how taking intentional breaths help you to connect within, and also help you to express what your vision is. That's the first question. And secondly, what are we being guided, or what are you being guided to surrender to make space for these new opportunities? And so I just want to encourage you to pick at least one of these questions to um, focus on as we go through the oracle reading. And we'll leave with that and go ahead and get to this oracle reading. All right, so the central frequency, the main frequency that we want to lock in on, is harmonizing the integrity of our spirit and modeling it through our breath, through how the breath vitalizes or give us that energy to exist, to be, and to create. And so remembering that our focus is to model the sacredness of our breath so that we can accomplish our visions, and that we're being spiritually guided towards letting go, equalizing the playing fields through the power of death. And just as a reminder, the power of death is not saying that, it's not talking about like physically dying. It's talking about the death of things, the death of cycles, the endings. It's just talking about endings. And also I love how High Priestess uh, shared that it also is talking about immortality. So it's like us letting go of all of these things that we find ourselves wanting to hold on to, that may not serve us anymore. And so as we hold the focus on breathing so that we can connect with the insights for the opportunities, the insights for what we need to let go of to make space, that's where we want to direct our focus towards. And with that, as we're taking these intentional breaths, focus on it guiding you towards having access to the insights and the clarity. Um, Recognize again those old habits or those blockages and all of those things that's not serving you in holding that focus. And so the next part that I would like to talk about is the physical body, which we have the red galactic earth sitting in that position. And this is encouraging us to, I'll say, look at how we're navigating through our day to day. Specifically today, though, I want to encourage you to observe how you're flowing through your day. Like, observe the energy you feel, observe the way that you're thinking, observe the different actions that you're taking, and also observe what's going on in your environment, like the people, places, and things that you that you may surround yourself with intentionally, or like on a regular basis. And ask within, does this support you connecting with your spirit and holding that vision? And so by you sitting with those questions, that's going to show you how to like what's necessary for you to evolve in that realm, so that you can get into the frequency of actually modeling the energy you need to put forth towards creating those synchronicities that are aligned to your vision. And so that is the physical body. And I would like to, also with the physical body, recognize what your spirit, what your heart is telling you to evolve. Just be real honest with yourself, okay? like you ain't gotta tell everybody, but at least if you're honest with yourself, you know, I feel like that's like the first step to, evolving and making certain changes. And so I just wanted to make sure I say that, to recognize in your heart and in your spirit, what is it telling you to evolve about the way you're navigating and the places that you're, going and things like that, or who you're around. And so now I want to jump down to the emotional body, for which we have the blue rhythmic storm. And this is in the emotional body, where this is the fuel that's giving us that energy to take flight. Even going back to the synchronized mindset that I was talking about earlier, this is the car. This is the gas in our car that's going to get our physical body actually moving. And so the blue rhythmic storm is telling us to catalyze the energy, so that, catalyze our own creative power, our own creative energy, to bring forth the balance that we need to stay connected in our spirit and to navigate towards our those opportunities aligned to our vision. And so I wanted to jump down to the emotional body, because this will allow for us to really recenter with our focus on generating the energy within ourselves, so that we can bring balance to the energy that we're experiencing, our thoughts, our actions, and making sure that it stays in alignment with our soul's focus. And so as you're sitting in this, pay attention to how your spirit is guiding you to organize, your energy, organizing your thoughts, paying attention to what's fueling you or what's draining your energy. Because in order to bring forth the balance, we have to do more of what actually fuels us and let go of what does not. You know what I'm saying? So that is what I would encourage or say about the emotional body. And then last but not least, the mental body. We have the yellow galactic human. And the mental body is about overcoming challenges, giving us that mental strength or that mental fortitude to carry out our focus, to take those necessary actions. And so with us having the yellow galactic human here, the challenge is to go through this process of allowing the wisdom of our spirit to also be embedded within us so that we can free the will of our spirit. So basically allowing the wisdom to free the will of our spirit, that is the challenge. And so what I will say is, just really practice that grace and compassion with yourself. Breathe, focus on breathing, because that's what's going to help you to reach that level of fearlessness that you need to move forward with what your spirit is telling you to do. And so you'll realize that you reach this point of fearlessness where you're crystallizing your divine intelligence, like the sacred intelligence from Most High Source, God, Creator, our co-creator, you know what I'm saying? So that we can unify the whole state of who we are as we move through or move with our life force energy. Because our life force energy is what's fueling us to actually take action in our body as the spirit within us. And so when we move in this whole state of being and allow ourselves to endure this journey of navigating through these different experiences, just holding that focus will help us to move towards accomplishing our vision. And so with that, I will say that concludes the oracle reading for us on this plasma. As always, it's definitely my joy and pleasure and all of these great things that I feel when I share the oracle reading. So reach out to me if you have any questions or anything like that. I have my contact information up here. So with that, may that you enjoy your creation in every single moment of now. In Lakesh, Alakin. Much love. Peace. Mwah. Moon Goddess Ambrosia signing off.